What's going on, guys? So this is a video that I feel everyone is entitled to hearing or understanding a little bit about me, who's on looking. I'm pretty proud of everybody. Most people behind the scenes have my back in the Vet Titans group, but I'm sure that there's some people who don't have my back, who are kind of leery, weary, whatever the word is, to what's going on right now. So I figured I should just make a video and explain myself a little bit on these bets with the friendly bets, the fun bets that we went into. So there were basically two different classifications of people. There were the polite people who hit me up behind the scenes and said, "Hey, Brandon, I don't know you from Adam, but I believe that you're good for the money. You want to bet me X amount of dollars?" And we talk about it. And sometimes I'd talk them down. Sometimes I'd talk them up a couple bucks. I kind of had like a range, whatever. Those people, I just want to say something right now. I want to get to the point. I have already given many people the money to hold, okay? Because I made the bet with them so long ago, it was before GM, had like the big official reveal of the zr1 and all these other things. And since these people had class, and since I can tell that these people have a regular job and, they're stable income and all these different things, I put together a little agreement with them, and I said, "Here, I'll let you hold the money, but in the event that I end up being right, which I still think I might be, you owe me that money plus the money back." And they said, "That's more than fair." And you'll notice that none of these people, not one person who I've bet money with behind the scenes, has come out of the woodwork and said, "Hey guys, I'm kind of concerned that Brandon's a deadbeat. I made a bet with him a while ago and he still hasn't paid me, blah, blah, blah." There's zero of those people, aren't there? It's because I'm a common sense, classy human being. I know what fair is. Now, before you guys get ahead of yourselves here and you bring up two key people, because I already know the two key people that you're going to bring up, let me just say that my bets with these two key people, and I'm going to do my best to omit their names, but it's kind of pointless because these two key people are such idiots that they made the bets very well known across the whole Facebook space, so I don't owe them privacy. They're too stupid to keep it a secret. They were obnoxious about it. And these two key people, and I'm going to go ahead and give one of them credit. I'm going to go ahead and give Darren Walters credit. He's the lesser of the two evils at this point. He was bad in the beginning. He was instrumental to getting me banned from groups over this topic of the grand sport, to getting everybody tribal, to getting the moderators to have to step in because he would antagonize everybody and get everybody going. So don't get me wrong, I'm not happy with the guy. But I think that he at least has enough self-confidence and he understands shame to the point where he's finally said, "Okay, this Brandon guy now kind of hates me. I'm crossing a line here. This is no longer a fun, friendly bet. The Brandon guy is losing. I have destroyed this guy's credibility in the Corvette arena when this guy actually had intent to try to make the cars safer and spread information to people that might save somebody's life." I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Darren. If somebody goes out and wrecks their C8 Z06 and dies and leaves widows their wife and kids, and they never heard that the cars have an EDIF glitch because I'm banned from the groups now, that blood is on your head, fucktard. If there's a God, I hope that he has a talk with you. Now, granted, the odds of that happening are slim, but I'm just going to tell you right now, they're more applicable. The odds are higher since you have conducted yourself as you have, okay? Now, again, I wanted to give credit where credit's due. Darren at least had the common sense to know, I need to shut up now because I am making an enemy with a guy who I think is smart enough to cause me a lot of pain if I don't shut the fuck up. So bravo to Darren for having an IQ over 60 once it came down to it. After I got banned from the group, of course, Darren. Well done, jackfuck. So will I be giving Darren the money that he and I have bet? It's a negligible amount of money. Okay, Darren and I's bet is I owe him $100 because our original bet was $100, okay? Because that's about all I trusted the guy for in the beginning because I just found him as such a fucking douchebag. So I bet him $100, and then I bumped it up to $500 he owes me because he was asking me to make a video saying that Darren Walters is my daddy, okay, if he wins. So I said, okay. And I knew that his ego was such that he would probably value that as a $400 exchange, whereas I ask for $500 if I win, and if he wins, he gets $100, and I have to make a video saying that he's my daddy. And of course, he went for it. I read his character right. He went for it. And he also believed that he was correct, so I knew that he would go for it. It was kind of like giving me 5-to-1 odds, plus getting a bonus of I have to make a video calling him daddy, which I'll happily do if he ends up being right. But I'm also going to tell the world the story about what actually happened with General Motors. See, Darren, all these guys think that they're such Corvette experts. They don't understand that Harlan got fired and why Harlan got fired. I had to enlighten Darren that if he ever meets Harlan, he's probably not going to be liked very much, because as much as Harlan probably hates me, he also hates these people, if I had to take a wild guess, who created this big tribal war. You know, it's one thing for me to predict what Harlan and General Motors are up to with the Grand Sport. It's another thing for these people like Darren Walters and so on to create this big tribal war online, to where it really ruins the surprise if the surprise comes true, because these guys have instigated this war and gathered everybody onto their team so that if the Grand Sport ends up being a thing, people are disappointed with the surprise instead of happy about the surprise. So don't be surprised, Darren, when you meet Harlan, if Harlan doesn't like you very much. And I've already explained that to him. Could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but don't be surprised. Okay? So, moving on. Okay, so that's why I have not given Darren the money yet. It's $100. It's not like it's going to make or break him. It's not like I'm not good for the $100. I'm definitely going to pay up my bet if I'm wrong. Okay. Now, a lot's developed since that time. As we know, General Motors has made the announcement about the car, and they've done different things. They've shown the ZR1 up on stage with Mark Royce and Taj and all these different things. And, you know, I sat there and I looked at it. And at first I was like, okay, fine, I'm wrong. But I'm very good at reading people. I'm very good at reading when people are lying. Okay, I'm very, 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 very good at seeing through people. Like the same way that you guys view a 4-year-old and know when a 4-year-old's lying about getting into the ice cream or the cookies or what the 4-year-old wants. That's how I feel about most humans. Okay, I can see right through people very quickly. And I knew that something was going on with the stock market, where there's an intentional, instigated squeeze trying to be formed by certain elite billionaires. I could see it. I can just see things, okay? And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're going to still do this surprise. They're just doubling down and they're trying to get me to pay my bets. That's fine. So what did I do? The people who I thought were classy, normal folks who I made bets with behind the scenes, they've got their money, guys. So all of you who've been calling me a deadbeat, your day is coming. You're going to be in a documentary where there's going to be people who are going to be like, Brandon gave me the money up front before I'd even technically won the bet, even when Brandon still believed that he was right. He went ahead and volunteered the money. That's the kind of guy he is. While the rest of you slaughtered my character in front of thousands of people with your fucking lies on things that aren't your business. So rest assured, you guys want to slaughter my character in front of thousands of people? I can repay you the favor, sweetheart. I can slaughter your characters in front of millions of people when we do the Senna E-Diff documentary, because it's coming. I'm just warning you guys, it's coming. So I've been busy doing a lot of different things. I don't need to explain myself, but the point is, let's get into this Andrew Zurich topic and let's talk about what happened today. But to get to the point, Andrew Zurich is the other person who I will not be fronting the money. And with Andrew Zurich, I actually trust Darren Walters at this point more than I do Andrew Zurich, which is backwards from where our relationship started. I met Darren Walters because of his obnoxiousness. I've never had reason to really admire the guy because he's always been obnoxious online. Maybe he gave me some insurance tips along the line or something that, whatever. He tried to be nice about something, that's great. But for the most part, my experiences with Darren were shit, okay, from the get-go. Andrew, on the other hand, was the other way around. I went out of my way. You know, when I created the Vet Titans group, the goal was let's bring people together because Global B was this huge hurdle. And I'm not a dummy. I'm a pretty sharp cookie. So I'm sitting back, getting the lay of the land. In the beginning, if you guys remember, it was Amelia and electronic, who was it? ETS or EPS, ETS, Electronic Turbo Systems or whoever there. It was like Amelia, ETS, and pardon me if I'm getting the name wrong. Callaway said they were in it. Hennessy said they were in it. And there was just like a few big shops who all said that they were in it in this race to, have the fastest C8 turbo tuned car. And I could see that Global B was an issue, and I had enough people on the inside at GM and or close to GM where I figured out what we were dealing with this Global B thing that is basically like what Boeing uses on the 747s, this military level encryption shit, and the strategy of how it works and how they compartmentize things, and people have logins to only certain sections. And for any car to be edited, there must be a login. So I'm just going to make up a name. Let's say there's a Cindy that works at General Motors. Well, Cindy, if she were to try to give you the ability to tune your C8, General Motors would be able to see that Cindy's login was used to tune your C8. She can't do anything to your C8 without her login, okay? So basically what happened was, and the people at General Motors know this, and I've explained this before, so it's not like I'm giving up any secrets that aren't already out. General Motors is well aware of what happened. There's a spot in the programming where there's checksums, and if you know where the checksums are, you can get by the encryption, so to speak. I'm just keeping it very simple, very, very low level for everybody. But the point is, high level, whatever you want to call it. The point is that's how Trifecta got in, is they found out where the checksums were from a GM employee. That GM employee has since been fired. They weren't all the way into being able to tune the EDIF. They weren't all the way into being able to tune the transmission. And so when Trifecta came out and made their big announcement that they were in, and Andrew Zurich was on the Trifecta team, if you will. He was one of their assisting tuners, if you will, who shops, who puts turbos on cars. He was one of their affiliates, if you will, who was close to them and knew what they were up to. He carried the same pride of, we are in. And I lost my fucking mind, if you don't recall, when I put up videos where I was literally fuming fucking furious that Trifecta announced that they were in, because I knew that however far they had gotten in wasn't far enough to be able to tune the EDIF yet, and to be able to tune the transmission clutch pressure yet, and be able to tune all these different things yet. They were only into the ECU. And how far were they really into the ECU? You see what I'm saying? Because I knew that things were compartmentized. And I knew that General Motors was going to be able to take evasive action and figure out who their mole was, who was giving them this information from inside GM, and that person would shortly be fired. And I proceeded to lose my fucking mind on videos. And I said, you guys are all celebrating in the C8 community. You should all be fucking furious, because these fucking idiots can't keep their fucking mouths shut about what they've accomplished, because they're that fucking insecure that they've got to brag before they actually make any real headway with this breakthrough. And instead of keep it secret and use that employee to get into the Z06, the upcoming Z06, because they made the announcement before the Z06 was released. That was probably my biggest anger of all, is I knew that we weren't going to ever get into the Z06, because this employee was going to get fired and all other employees were going to be shown as an example what happens when you cooperate with the quote-unquote aftermarket tuning community, right? So, because not only do you get fired, General Motors can sue you. They can come after you for all kinds of shit. They can take your fucking house. Okay, when you're an employee for General Motors, they can get you for damages on this shit. So, okay. So originally my relationship with Andrew I thought was very positive. Just like Justin at Horsepower Obsessed, I literally went to his place in Pennsylvania, which is way the fuck out of my way. It's not on my typical travel routine. I normally go from Ohio or Indiana down to Florida. Pennsylvania is way the fuck the wrong way, okay? And so I went over to meet Justin, and I went over to meet, Andrew, and I met these guys, and I brought gifts to Justin. I brought him these little gizmos that I'd invented that stiffen up the bars. My interactions with these guys was super respectful. I'm not trying to be a super judgy person. Sure, Justin's fat. Sure, Andrew's short and doesn't have a neck. Do I ever, or a very limited neck, obviously he has a neck. Do I ever treat people with disrespect based on their physical quirks? No, I'm a very respectful, kind person. I shook Andrew's hand, was super respectful. I'm trying to assemble a team of people. I want us to all work together to try to get through Global B. I want us to all work together on anything. I want the Corvette community to come together because I just sense all this jealous, weird, catty bullshit, and I want it to end. I want it to come to an end. So like the way that you see Conti and Brink of Speed working together and Justin and Keith Cornett, that's what I wanted in the beginning. In the beginning, that didn't exist, okay? So I really kept like explaining this to people, and it was like this real profound thing where they're all like, no, I hate those people. I hate those people. And it's like, if we work together, we would get farther. Okay, so I'm the guy who actually instigated that concept early on, before the YouTubers were working together. I swear to God, they were not working together when I started Vet Titans. Vet Titans was for that. There were a couple people who I came across who I realized they're good people. Anderson Dick at Fuel Tech, exceptional good person. Very humble, can back up anytime that he is cocky or arrogant, which is very few and far between. It's very subtle when he does it. It's a joke usually, he's having fun. He can back it up. He's the fucking Michael Jordan of the fucking tuning computers for cars right now. He came out of fucking nowhere and took the world by storm. As it said, Fuel Tech is everywhere. I tried to get Andrew and Fuel Tech to work together in the very beginning. Anderson Dick was completely fine with it. Andrew wasn't up for it. We're using, what was it? Holly Eliminator and Trifecta and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But anyway, one of Andrew's coworkers ends up having a relationship with Anderson Dick. I didn't know if that was before my try to get them connected or after my try to get them connected. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I'm the reason why their relationship happened. I'm simply saying I wanted it to happen. Same thing with Doug Ring and these guys. I bumped into Doug Ring and Anderson Dick while they were meeting at the PRI trade show in Indianapolis. I already knew who they both were. And I told Doug Ring, you want to work with Anderson Dick? He's the guy. I'm telling you, he's a dude. Now, with all that said, Anderson Dick has taken a more cautious approach with the C8 because of the whole EPA thing. He's playing by the rules to a T. He's not, and he's not trying to get on General Motors' bad side. So he's kind of chosen to sit back while other people make progress. He's got a million other things going on. So no fault there. But by the way, Anderson Dick ended up taking the world record away from Amelia in the C8 twin turbo race quarter mile because he did some things that I predicted needed to be done, such as address the clutch pressure, which again, if the clutch pressure isn't adjusted, then you can't set good, the clutches slip and they self-destruct. You can't set a good quarter mile time. And that's why I was so mad at Trifecta. When they announced everything before they had the clutch pressure stuff figured out, before they were in that far, they start bragging about how they've got full access to Global B, and it just made me sick. So the first time I got sideways with Andrew was over this Trifecta situation because Andrew basically took their side and basically went on the offense that I had no clue what I'm talking about, and I need to learn about tuning cars, and that I don't know anything about tuning cars, and I need to shut up, basically, and I have no clue what I'm talking about. Since then, he's now trying to say, well, that's not how it was, but whatever. That's exactly how it was, guys. That's what it boiled down to. And so anyway, but that's fine. Is what it is. He's on their team. I let it slide. I didn't hate the guy. It was what it was. It was like, okay, we got a difference of opinion. I'm not going to let this end our friendship. I'm going to continue on. So from time to time, I give Andrew a call, and I like to shoot the shit with him and tell him, I try to be a very humble person. And for those of you who think that's not true, I give people a call even when I don't necessarily think that they're going to offer me anything of use. I like to give them the compliment that, hey, I value your opinion. I believe that you know more than me. Here's a problem that I'm having with such and such. I wanted to get your feedback on it. So early on, I bounced off Andrew, the reality about all the Lemon Law C7 Z06s that I had with the fuel pump issues, and said, wanted to get your feedback about it. I took a very humble approach. And I'm just going to tell you right now, he took a very arrogant approach. He proceeded to tell me what the problem was, even though, frankly, what he explained was not the problem, and I gave him facts to explain why what he was saying wasn't the problem. He said that there's a flaw with the fuel pump canister in my car. I said, okay, Andrew, that would make sense, except for the fact that I can get any C7Z06 to fail in cold weather at sea level by just switching out the air filter. Any C8Z06. Brand new. I've done it many times. We've lemoned multiple cars. So have other people, okay? Everybody who's gone out and tested this, they've realized that I'm right, okay? But neither here nor there. General Motors disabled the P2283 low pressure limp mode to avoid their cars getting lemoned because I was doing it so religiously on all the different cars, okay? Then we would just blow out the cats. I've explained this before in previous videos, but I'm just going to explain it again to kind of... So I've explained all this to Andrew kindly. Yeah, I don't know. I think what it is it's the fuel pumps, or it's the fuel canister has a problem. It's the crossover pump line. It's the Venturi pump. It's this. It's every fucking car, Andrew. No, it's not. I've had lots of cars leave out of my shop with only one in-tank fuel pump, and we upgraded the horsepower. Ding, 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 ding. We have a motive. We have a motive now for why Andrew is not open to my truth. It means that technically, if you were to say, yep, Brandon, you're absolutely right. All the cars have a problem, and I'm sending cars out the door with only one in-tank fuel pump with even more horsepower, so they're more likely to run lean yet. If you were to get your hands on any one of my cars that I've tuned, you're right, Brandon. If that got back to those customers, they would sue the guy. They'd say, hey, I heard that you were saying that the cars are flawed, you knew about it, and you sent it out the door this way. Thanks, asshole. So I forgave him again. I said, okay, he's got skeletons in his closet with cars that only have one in-tank fuel pump that's got his name on them. He's not going to ever agree with me on this. Water under the bridge. Move on to the next topic. So I stopped calling him about it. I don't want to get into an argument with him about it. Instead, I just mentioned it from time to time on Facebook. And guess who's always there like a little yip-yip chihuahua to attack whenever I mention the Lemon Law cars, the C7Z06s on Facebook, and the need for two fuel pumps? Andrew Zurich from CSP is there to tell me why I'm wrong. Imagine that. So it's like one of those things where he's admitting guilt. If he would just stay in the shadows and not say anything, nobody would put it together. He could tell his people Brandon has no clue what he's talking about, and believe me, he has. Believe me, he has. It's circled back to me that he's more than told people that on several occasions about several different topics. So next thing you know, he's getting into battles with me, and those battles bring publicity to where, let's say that somebody's friends with he and friends with I, or just friends with him. They see him arguing with me on one of the groups. These people start reaching out to me, and they're like, hey, man, I think you're right, and don't say that I said anything, but I think that my car's flawed from Andrew's shop. Now, granted, I have never said that on Facebook. I've never said it on YouTube yet. I've kept that personal between Andrew and I. I said, look, man, I'm not trying to go to war with you. If I wanted to go to war with you, I could start talking about the people who believe that you didn't get their car right, and I'm not trying to go there. That's not my goal. My goal is for General Motors to fix the cars moving forward, and my actions prove it. Until this video, I have never mentioned what I just said to anybody. I really haven't. Meanwhile, he's running around, running his mouth to people behind my back that I'm clueless and I don't have any clue what I'm talking about. So it's hard to stay friends with people when they're doing this stuff, okay? But I still try. So fast forward to this C8 ZR1 topic. The C8 ZR1 gets revealed, blah, 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 you know. So fall comes. After the summer reveal, fall comes. And it's like fucking November or something. I forget what month it is, but I think it's like November. So fall comes, the car, we know that the ZR1's coming or whatever, and GM's already said it's coming, and blah, 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 and it's going to be a 2025, all these different things. And I know how Andrew loves to say I'm wrong. It's like he's trying to find what I'm wrong about to make himself feel better. Right? It's very obvious to me. So I figured I'd give Andrew a call, and it was about a separate topic. It had nothing to do with the ZR1. It had to do with something else. So I give Andrew a call, and I'm shooting the shit with him. And right out of the gate, I volunteer. I say, yeah, it looks like I'm probably going to owe some people some money because General Motors is going to try to do this 2025 ZR1 thing, even though I have on pretty good damn knowledge from my inside guys at the Grand Sport's coming. Instead of this guy just laugh and be like, yeah, you made an ass out of yourself for sure, and keep it lighthearted and fun, you tell me how much of this shit you would tolerate if it was you on the phone with this guy. Not only does he say that, yeah, you definitely made a fool out of yourself. And it's kind of the way he says it. It's this Valley Girl, half gay voice that he uses. I can't explain it. I realize he's married. I realize he has a wife. But it reminds me of a fucking Valley Girl. And to me, the only guys who like to talk like Valley Girls are people who want people to know that they're not straight. And so I get this Valley Girl vibe when he talks. And so I'm sitting there and he's trying to rub in my face about this whole thing. But then he starts, he just continues. And here's where it really stoops low. He says, Brandon, no, you don't have any insiders at GM. I have insiders at GM, and they don't talk to you. They don't like you. Dude, I called you up to have polite conversation about another topic. I start the conversation out with humble, hey, I might be wrong on this. I might owe a bunch of people money because it looks like General Motors is going to try to do the ZR1 thing instead of the Grand Sport thing. And I'm going to get lectured by you about how I have no friends at General Motors because in your magnificent crystal fucking ball, you know that I know no one simply because you know a couple people. In previous conversations, he's divulged to me that he has one person on the inside who leaks some information. One. I have a lot of people, okay? I'm just being blunt. I know a lot of people, guys. They want to see the cars get better. They know that I'm like the attack dog to try to make that happen. They share information with me. They know that I'm on the right track. They don't share the information with Andrew. They don't share the information with Justin at Horsepower Obsessed. They don't share the information with Speed Phenom or Amelia. They choose to share the information with me because they know that I'm going to do something with it to try to create change, to try to make the cars better, even if I have to create the aftermarket product myself, or if I have to do a collaboration with somebody like Andrew, if he was willing to, or Anderson at Fuel Tech, or any of these guys. They know that I'm a go-getter, that I want to see shit happen. So I'm sitting here listening to this rude fuck just continue, and I try to explain to him, I'm like, Andrew, you're out of line, dude. Like, you're and finally, I let him have it. I'm like, people have told me that you talk shit about me behind my back, but I kind of let it go. But you are proving to me that you are not my friend. Like, if you want to, and one of his favorite phrases, and this is a phrase of the Corvette called a cluelessness, guys. It's pretty amazing. Justin has used it. John Elegant has used it. All those puppets underneath John Elegant use it. The Corvette cult of cluelessness loves to say, Brandon, you've never been right about anything. That's a blow. That is an attack on my character when I'm an information source to the Corvette community. That is a blow, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end this video because it's already half an hour long and it's going to take a long time to upload. But real long story short, Andrew's not a person who I'm going to front money to because I don't trust him. And today and last night really reconfirmed to me why I do not trust him. And I'm going to do a follow-up video to this about why he is, I have a very good read on this guy. He is a person who needs to learn a life lesson. And that is why I engaged in my bet with Andrew late, because I want to get this out in this video. There was two things that I knew would happen. Either he wouldn't take me up on the bet at all because he's too much of a coward, which is almost what happened. I had to mock him to get him to engage in this bet. I was like, you're going to sit here and tell me that you know that I'm fucking wrong about this ZR1 Grand Sport situation, and you're not even willing to bet $1,000? What a fucking wuss. What a fucking Valley Girl, run your mouth bitch you are. You're confident that I'm wrong and you have all these inside sources that say I'm wrong and you're not willing to make a free $1,000 after General Motors has already announced the fucking car? and the odds are in your favor to win? You're not going to take the bet? And it wasn't until after we hung up with each other and I blasted him on, private message, that he finally agreed to bet me. It was work to get this guy to bet me. Like, if I would have asked for odds, he wouldn't have done it. So understand, I have given out a generous situation, and I did that on purpose because as I thought about it, I'm very quick to calculate things. My mind works in magical ways on certain ways. Otherwise, I'm a fucking retard. I admit that. But there's certain things that my mind's very good at. And I sat there and I said to myself, not only is he going to be reluctant, but along the way, he's going to lose his confidence and he's going to show the world his true colors on Facebook and show the world what a bitch he is, what a coward bitch he is. He's going to get cold feet on this bet and everybody's going to see it. When the odds are in his favor, he's going to get cold feet and try to renege on his bets. And that's exactly what today was. It was all morning. I had to take a fucking nap today because it was so much fucking brain damage. I'm sitting there listening to this guy insult me. You don't have the money to pay me. Is it because you don't have the money to pay me? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, Andrew, it's very simple. You redid the terms of the bet. You said that you were willing to wait for the second ZR1 and window stickers to show up. The window stickers was the first thing he agreed to. The ZR1 was the second thing he agreed to. A second ZR1 needs to land at a dealership, which I'm well aware can happen. I'm well aware that General Motors can have the ZR1 show up before the Grand Sports and that I owe him the money. I'm not opposed to giving the guy the money, but I will not let him sit on the money because I do not trust him at all. After today, if you read the conversations, I would never take my car to this guy's shop based on our conversations today. This guy has no shame to go back on his word and blame the other party for the reason why he made a promise. This guy has zero accountability, like fucking zero. So with Andrew, it is the same thing that it started out as. I'm going to teach this guy a lesson, but he really needs to learn it. Darren Walters, I think, learned his lesson already. Andrew has not yet learned his lesson. Andrew needs to learn the lesson more than Darren Walters by far. Andrew is way worse. Way, way, way worse. Okay. So at least Darren Walters was up front with me to my face that he had a problem and it was up on the up and up. It wasn't like 6 months or a year later where we're on a phone call, a friendly phone call. We all hate you. Everyone at General Motors hates you. I'm friends with all of them, even though he said before he's only friends with one. It's total fucking bullshit. Total fucking bullshit. They all told me that they've never talked to you. They all told you. You talked to all 10,000 fucking employees at General Motors. I mean, just god damn, this guy. He's dead serious, guys. Dead serious. It's psychotic. It's psychotic. To the way that this guy reasons and the insults that this guy was throwing in his phone call and the way that he was saying them. Like, it was like, is this guy trying to provoke me? Is this guy trying to just get me to go off on him? So anyway, so I got the $1,000 bet with him, and literally just in the last 24 hours, as it finally dawned on Andrew Zurich that he might be losing the bet. He's finally figured out that Harlan lost his job and why Harlan may have lost his job. And by the way, guys, what do I think? Let me clarify something too. This video is long, but let me clarify something about Harlan. I see it at this point that there's two options with Harlan and the Grand Sport. Surprise. I've said this all along. I said that either it's all planned and staged where Harlan's firing is staged and it has nothing to do with me, and then Harlan's going to come back and, they're going to announce the Grand Sport and it had nothing to do with me. And in that situation, I said they need to keep Harlan fired because I'm sick of all the games and I'm sick that he wasn't smart enough that he didn't call the ZR1 a 2027 and instead this 2025 ZR1 bullshit that started back in 2023 killed Z06 values. He's not a good thinker for General Motors. It didn't do General Motors any favors for him to call this thing a 2025 ZR1 if it ends up being the 2025 Grand Sport SS, okay? Let the 2025 Grand Sport SS be a surprise, And even if it is a 2025 ZR1, still call it a 2026 or 2027 ZR1 and let it be a surprise when it's a 2025. Surprise everybody. Under promise and over deliver for a change, Harlan. And that's why I said Harlan needs to stay fired. If his firing was fake, he needs to stay fired. Now, with that said, option 2. If Harlan went to bat to defend himself against the fucking Munchkins of Oz inside GM, these fucking Corvette called a clueless people like Wendy Miller and all these different people who were like, but I already had a fight with Brandon in front of thousands of people that there wasn't going to be a grand sport, and now you're telling me there's a grand sport? Mark Royce, Mary Barra, we have to not let this happen because it's not going to work good for us. And then when they get into a conflict with Harlan about it, and say, look, we can't call this thing the grand sport because obviously our own employees have already taken a stance, put out their opinion when it comes to money bets, trying to defraud Brandon out of money if it turns out that this car exists. Wendy Miller's telling people that I lost the bet. Basically insinuating that I need to pay my bets. It's trying to defraud somebody out of money. It's General Motors employees trying to defraud me out of money. Like, they can get sued, guys. So that there's reasons why GM's lawyers would say he's got a point. You guys aren't going to be able to call this car a grand sport. He's right. You're going to have to stick with calling it a ZR1, which would explain the Justin saying that it's going to be the ZR1 family of cars, that the grand sport's going to fall under the ZR1 family of cars, which would explain why Harlan gets fired if he insisted that the car needs to be called a Grand Sport SS and that the baby car needs to be called a Grand Sport and there needs to be a big Grand Sport surprise. Okay? Because you got to understand, Harlan's probably told certain people that the surprise is coming, and Harlan doesn't want to look stupid in front of his friends. The same way Wendy Miller doesn't want to look stupid in front of her friends that she crossed me on Facebook. So that's the other option why Harlan got fired. It was a genuine firing, and it had to do with the names of the cars. And that's why Harlan went on the Corvette Today podcast with Steve Garrett and Keith Cornett, those guys, and says, I named so many cars. I named the commemorative edition, Z06. I named the E-Ray. I named this car. I named this car. I named this car. It's like, why are you bragging about all the cars you named? Oh, because the reason why you got fired is because General Motors and you had a disagreement about what the new car is going to be named. Got it. But he's not allowed to say that, you see? But reading between the lines. So those are the two options with Harlan's firing. Either it was intentional and it's scripted and he's going to be back, at which case I threw out the joke, he needs to stay fired. And I'm kind of mean that. You need to understand that you made a big mistake, Harlan, on how you handled this 2025 ZR1 instead of 2026 or 2027 ZR1 with your leaks that you put out intentionally with Keith Cornett and all these other guys. Or now, if he got fired because of this Grand Sport thing and me, you need to let him back in. And you need to go ahead and just call the car a Grand Sport. Or if you want to call the car a ZR1, whatever, just to see me lose my bets, whatever. But everybody's still going to know that I was right, that there was a secret car coming. So you may as well call the car a fucking Grand Sport. That's it in a nutshell. Andrew Zurich didn't understand this shit. Darren Walters didn't understand this shit. They're still... I'm going to continue. This is a long enough video. This video is going to take forever to upload. See ya. You get the idea. See ya.